What if I told you that how a startup reaches an investor says more about their chances than their pitch deck or anything else? I've made many investments working in private equity. I've led multiple companies where I've had to make tough investment calls. And right now, I'm building my own venture firm from scratch, sorting through a mountain of deal flow every week. Along the way, I've developed a 5-tier mental model that helps me quickly make sense of the chaos. It's like a hidden hierarchy, one that quietly decides who gets a meeting and who gets ignored. So if you've ever struggled to get a VC's attention or felt overwhelmed by inbound as an investor yourself, let me tell you what I've learned. Let me walk you through it from cold outreach to repeat founders. In this video, I'll break down exactly how I use a 5-tier model ranking every opportunity from low to maximum signal. That's how venture capital firms think about their pipeline, from total strangers to founders they chase down themselves. And if you're a founder or even a new investor, understanding this funnel is your cheat code to breaking in. Let's pull back the curtain. Most people get this backwards. They think that pitching to investors is a numbers game. If they get their name in front of enough people, eventually one will invest. They couldn't be more wrong. I used to believe the wrong thing too. When I started at a private equity fund, I did a lot of cold calling, trying to find deals. I had a very large database of entrepreneurs, companies that were a good fit on paper. If I called enough of these companies, eventually I would find the one that would be a good fit for us. This can work, but it didn't. I built up a system, actually quite similar to a sales CRM, where I was tracking mine and my fund's deal flow pipeline. Eventually, I saw the pattern. Today, as I'm building my VC firm, I am facing a similar challenge. Deal flow is no longer an issue in this asset class. Attending one networking event leads to so many new pitch decks that actually the handling of that deal flow becomes the issue. A lot of founders ask me, Johannes, how do I go from sending my pitch deck to getting a serious meeting? And I get it, because I was struggling on the other side of this. Too many emails and no systems. Introductions here, form submissions there. So many LinkedIn messages these days are not personal anymore. Many use automation software to send the same message to hundreds of people. It's not that I don't care, it's that I have limited time and need filters. Besides having a clear mandate and knowing exactly what to look for in the next step of screening, how I get introduced to a company or deal is one metric that stands out to me. How an introduction comes about can make or break an investment decision. I've identified 5 different sources of signal, and I will walk you through from far to close how from low signal to maximum signal, how I go about organizing opportunities. An automated LinkedIn message or a cold email is the furthest away or the lowest signal medium. The message would have to be very high impact for us to consider looking at it closer. Usually these messages are not personalized, completely miss our investment thesis, and are just not a good fit. A Valyrium steel-backed stable coin that lets you tokenize dolphins? Just kidding. Often, these kinds of messages try to overcompensate with pseudo-personalized openers like, "I've admired your journey, very impressive." This may get opened, but it's often ignored in the next step. The next one is the warm inbound. It's from my network, people I've met and consider somewhat serious. With this, you will still need to be careful because often those introducers have hidden agendas. Why they're showing you a deal in the first place could be they might get a fundraising fee or have some other misalignment of incentives. And you need to be aware of this. This signal strength, I would say, is medium, and I would take a call to learn more. I will ask questions, learn, and who knows where this will go. My next tier, I clearly distinguish between my general network and people I know and trust. These trusted introductions are from people I've worked with in the past, I already know, or they come through a very trusted introduction. There are no hidden agendas, or at least the interests are aligned because they are also an investor, for example. And this has a high signal strength, and I will prioritize it this week. Over time, this level and closer to me is what I'm focusing on. Extending the network of trust, building a community of vetted introductions. Now let's move another level closer. This category is what I would call own thematic research. This is when I do research on a particular niche that I'm interested in, and I will pursue individual companies that fit or are interesting to us. Naturally, this source is very high signal strength because I'm actively trying to pursue them. I'm keen on getting to the next stage with them, so it will be a priority for me. The closest source of deal introductions are repeat founders and alumni that we've had a success with. This is the maximum signal strength because they've already proven themselves and therefore already tick a major box in the subsequent DD, capability to execute. Speaking of due diligence, this process of categorizing does not replace due diligence. That's not what this means. That it's purely based on experience, how the limited resources should be spent and which companies should we go into due diligence with. What it is a proxy to a DD criteria that we take very seriously, and anyone should. Startup investing is all about the people. It's about the founder's ability to deliver. At the very beginning of someone's entrepreneurial journey, it is very difficult to gauge. That's why you have to rely on proxies like this to determine how good they will be. Entrepreneurship is about getting your product in front of the right people, and fundraising is no different. Can you reach the people that will have the most impact? Now, I mentioned events earlier. This is not a different category for me because it always depends on how you connected at the event. Was it a specific conference I attended to study a specific niche, and that's how a company got on my radar? Then it's in the bucket of own thematic research. If it's more or less a random connection, and then I will treat it as a warm inbound as long as it fits the mandate that we invest in. A key insight is also that you are not in one box forever. Continuous updates by founders can build trust and increase the signal strength. One way I really like and advice that I give is to send regular updates to a circle of investors and partners. This is all part of the strategy that you should start keeping investors in the loop long before you start the actual fundraise. If you have successfully managed to get through the noise and deliver your message, you've already made it quite far already. Now it's about avoiding the common mistakes to make sure you get that yes and move along in the due diligence process. If you want to know the most common reason why investors say no, make sure you watch this next.